All right, we have arrived at the final augmented sixth chord that we're going to be looking at here, and this is the German augmented sixth chord. So we've seen the Italian, we've seen the French, now we're going to do the German, and it really is going to follow with what we've been talking about before. The thing to keep in mind, as with kind of all German things, is that it is the most complicated. So there is, I know I said before that there isn't really a terribly strong national correlation between these various chords, but I do think it's kind of interesting that the most simple and sort of one that just seems to enjoy itself is the Italian. The French augmented sixth is a little bit, just sort of a little bit brusque, a little bit clashy, but beautiful at the same time. And then there's the German augmented sixth, which is maybe a little more complicated than it needs to be, but it really is truly quite beautiful. So let's get in here. There's actually decent amount to talk about. First and foremost, the German is another 4-note variety of the augmented sixth chord. That's really nice. You know, it seemed like potentially we went from the interval, which was just 2 notes, Italian augmented sixth, which is 3 notes, French, which is 4. It seemed like maybe we'd somehow sneak a 5th note in there. But no, the German augmented sixth is a 4-note chord, just like the French. And 3 of those 4 notes are the exact same. So we've got the notes that make up the augmented sixth, lay and fi. And then we have do. Again, do is such a great grounding note in all of these clashy augmented sixth chords. And then we're adding may, the flat 3. And that's going to be true both in major and minor keys. Minor, it makes sense to have may, but it's going to be present in the major keys as well. So let's sort of get into that. One of the things that's really unique about the German augmented sixth is that enharmonically, like if we respell it differently, it's the same as a dominant 7th chord. So let me play that out for you. So we'll say this is lay. Here's lay, do, may, and fi. Right? So if I just said, hey guys, what kind of chord is this? You would hear that and think, oh, that's a dominant 7th and it needs to resolve here, right? But as an augmented 6th chord, it instead wants to go here, right? Right? Or something like this. So we've got the same chord, which can go here and here, which I kind of love. It's got this real flexibility, which is just one of these great things. The deeper you get into these chromaticisms, we talk about how specific they are, but in some ways through that specificity, they could sort of snake around and go a different direction. So we do need to be aware and careful of the fact that the augmented sixth sounds the most like the interval that we would more easily mistake it as, the minor 7th, when it's here in the German augmented 7th. If I could do the Pretty Woman's, right? But we can hear that, and we would expect it to be like a minor 7th and resolve down instead of going like that. All right. Just great sneaky stuff. So let's take a look here in G. We're going to do G minor and then G major first. And right out of the gate, let's look at this first example. So we're in G. Just like all the other ones, it's built on lay. But let's see what the problem is with this seemingly normal German augmented sixth going to 5. Uh-oh. And we run into the inherent problem of the German augmented sixth. If we go directly to 5, we've got a chord here where all the notes pretty much need to go somewhere, right? Fi needs to go to sol, lay needs to go to sol, and in the altos, do needs to go to ti. And so what we're left with here is may kind of has to go to re. There are ways around it, but not if you don't want to end up with 3 Ds in this one, which would be problematic. So what we find is that if we go directly to 5, you are gonna run into parallel fifths. You're gonna run into parallel fifths. Now, this is something that might be frustrating here, but in some corners of the music world, I might fall into this, we sort of don't really care about that, and it's because of a very annoying thing, maybe annoying to you, that we sometimes call Mozart Fifths, which is to say that in the canon, in the sort of tradition of this style of music, we would say, you know what, yeah, it's parallel fifths, but we don't mind it so much. We're going to let it slide for the simple reason that Mozart did it. So not the most, I would say, appeasing answer to that, but nonetheless, if you do go directly to 5, you would have parallel fifths. And so it is more common, as we see in the second example, it is a lot more common to go through the cadential 6/4, because then the the tenor and the bass voices, instead of being fifths, right, instead of doing that, we can see the tenors hang out on B flat for a little longer in the cadential 6/4, and it's avoided. So instead of going directly downwards, bottom, bottom, they just gonna stay here, and we avoid it. So again, you're much more likely, and it tends to be the technique for the German augmented sixth, that it should, quote unquote, go through the cadential 6/4, despite the fact that Mozart did it the other way. Now let's look at one of the unique things here, which is that in major, as we said, it's kind of interesting that the note we're adding is may, right? We've added, so we've got lay, do, may, but that's at odds with may, me, right? That B flat to B natural, may, me type of motion. So if we look here in major, we get this awesome thing in the tenors where they go may, me, right? Where they're sort of mixing that minor sound with the major sound, which is really, really cool. For that reason, you do sometimes see it, or you will see it sometimes respelled as an A sharp. So instead of B flat, you might see it spelled as an A sharp, so that it makes it a little cleaner and clearer where that note should go. But I wouldn't avoid doing it this way. I think that's just totally fine. So that's the German sixth, and we again in major, it's that really, really cool moment of mixing may, the minor third, going to me. And that's another one of these beauties of the fact that we're going through the cadential 6/4, means we get that, which we would not if we went directly to 5. All right, so we can see A sharp to B is a respelling that sometimes happens. I don't think it's necessary, but if you find it helps you keep it a little more clearly in mind, then that's fine. All right, let's do some practice here. Let's take a look and see if we can figure out how to actually spell the German augmented sixth. So here we are. We're going to be in A major, good guitar key. Right. So here we are in A major. So first and foremost, can we just spell the augmented sixth? Who knows, right? So let's think in A, we got E as sol, do, re, mi, fa, sol. And what note goes in the bass of all augmented sixth chords? It's a half step above sol. It's lay. So we want to have lay in the bass. And so I'm going to make that. How do we spell lay? F natural. And again, just pointing out that it's not in the key signature in major. So we've got lay, one of our funky notes. So we know we've got lay, fi, do, as in all of them, and then may is our new friend for the German augmented sixth. So we've got lay. What's going to be fi in A? What's the leading tone of E? E is 5, right? E is sol. So what's the leading tone of E? It's D sharp. D sharp is going to be our fi, right? So we've got lay, we've got fi. Both of these notes would resolve outwards to E, right, to octave E's. So there's lay fee. Hopefully we know pretty easily what note is do in the key of A. I think where I want to put this, I want to put there. So we're going to put an A here to be do. Yep, it'll work good. And then what do we need to be the last note? It's May. So in the key of A major, what's going to be May? What note is May? Mi is C sharp, so May is C natural. So here's our German augmented sixth. And again, sounds like that dominant seventh chord, right? But it's where it's going that's going to be different. So we've got lay in the bass, F natural, fee in the soprano, D sharp, do in the alto, A natural, and May, C natural in the tenors. So there's our German augmented sixth. We're going to put that in a progression over here, which goes 1 German augmented sixth and then through the cadential 6/4, because even though Mozart did it, I think we're all willing to acknowledge that we are not Mozart. So what note's going to go in the bass over here on our German augmented sixth? It's going to be lay F natural, right? So our bass line is going to be do, lay, sol, sol, do. Right? We're starting on this voicing, right? So we need to go right to the German augmented sixth here. So let's see. What should we do? Which of these voices is closest to fee? That's the next crazy important note that we need, because we've already got lay in the bass, so we need to get fee for somebody else. Well, the altos here are only a half step away. They're on sol, so they're going to work really nicely to do fee. Let's give them fee there. Good. And then let's see here. What should we do? We're in A. I'm actually going to do something a little sneaky. I know it looks like we should keep do and May or do and mi where they are, but I'm going to do something a little different, and I'm going to switch them. And I want the tenors to sing do. I'm going to have the tenors sing do, because you know what? They're good at that. Let them do what they're good at, right? So the tenors are going to sing do, which leaves May for the sopranos. So here they go up here. Oopsie. Oh no. Doing bad things, people. It's so crazy that I changed the part rating. There we go. So we can see there they are. So we're going from 1, 2, and listen to that. That melody from do to May. Right, like that's awesome. That's a really nice moment. And then we get to the cadential 6/4, which is going to have a sixth and a fourth above the bass. First of all, we can resolve this D sharp, right? That wants to go to E. All right, so let's let them sing E here. And actually, I'm going to just finish the part writing for them, because they're going to go become the seventh and resolve down there. So that's them. The tenors, pretty easy to do too, because they're going to be the fourth above the bass, right? Because they're on A. And then they're going to be the third above the bass. And then they're going to resolve, right? So they were fourth above, third above, resolving T do. And now the sopranos. They're on May. So what are they actually going to get to do? What are we missing? What interval above the bass in the cadential 6/4? We've got the octave, thanks to our augmented sixth interval, lay to sol, fee to sol. We've got our fourth above the bass, resolving to the third above the bass. We need a sixth above the bass, and sixth above the bass is C sharp. So what we actually get is this really awesome moment, and let me sort of make that a little bit more clear here, where we're mixing C natural to C sharp through the cadential 6/4. So we get to really hear that sort of trade-off between the minor third right? Wow, that's really great. Love that. Love that. You can tell every note in this chord is doing something important, and 3 of the 4 have someplace they really, really, really want to go, and do is keeping things balanced. All right, do one last one here. In D minor. D minor. What's lay in D minor? What note is lay in D minor? Well, it should be B flat, right? So here's a B flat. Oops, not a quarter note. I want a half note. I don't know why it matters, but half notes are what feel right. So here we go. We got lay. What's fee in D minor? Fee in D minor is G sharp. I'm going to put that here because remember, both of these notes are a half step away from A, which is 5 in D minor. So you always want the half step above sol and the half step below sol. Lay, fee, those are our augmented sixth notes. And then we want do and may as well. So let's get do and may in there. What's do in D minor? Well, hopefully we feel really confident saying that it's D. So let's put D in the I sort of made a little bit of a part writing mistake here, but that's okay. Let's put D in the tenor voice here. Yeah. Who do we want to stretch? Let's let the tenors shine. Let's let the tenors sing a high F here. So we'll let the sopranos sing D up here. See if this is going to work. Oops. Delete. And sing D. And then the tenors. Oh, the tenors. The tenors are going to sing. Oh my goodness, what is happening? High F. Woo! So we've got, and it's F natural. Sounds like it's going to be a dominant seventh chord, but instead it's kind of does one of those. Really exciting. Okay. Remember, B flat, lay, is in the key signature in minor. It's in the key signature. So if we come over here, we know what note needs to be in the bass here on the German augmented sixth. It's lay, which is B flat. So here's a B flat. And so what we're going to see in this one is I've sort of built it to showcase one of the progressions that sort of combines pretty much not the Neapolitan, but most of what we've done this semester, which is, number one, it's built on this descending bass line. And number two, it uses 5-4-2-4, uses modal mixture, really great. And we're going to see how this descending bass line is, number one, the sort of home base of the augmented sixth chords, but also can be paired with a really terrific soprano part. We can do what I like to call the wedge. So let's get wedgy here, as it were. Okay, so I did the part writing on the first three. So we're in D minor. We got 1, 5-4-2-4. Here it comes 4-6 with our modal mixture la, and then that's gonna go to lay. So what do we need? We've got lay. Let's find fee. Fee, we already found it over here. Fee is G sharp. So which voice would be the best place for fee here? We actually have two voices on G already. So we've got G in the tenor, G in the soprano. So we could put the G sharp in the tenors here, but if we put it in the soprano, let's see what happens. Let's see what we get if we put fee in the sopranos here. It's going to be that one. So, and what we can see is, look, we've got this awesome chromatic melody. F natural, F sharp, G, G sharp. And we know where G sharp wants to go, which is A, right? Oops, not that A. We all want that high note, but not today, right? So we get to pair this chromatic melody with this really great descending bass line. So we're sort of going to get these two lines that are wedging outwards, right? Okay, so what else do we need? We need do and may. Well, the altos are singing do, so I think we should take advantage of that. We'll ask them to continue. And then what do we have here in the tenors? They can sing may because they're on G. And what's may in D minor? What's the minor third in D minor? It's F. It's F natural. So let's have them sing that. Oops, what am I doing? Get rid of that. Very good. There we go. So look at that part writing. minor 1. Here's 5 4 2 4. 4 6. Here it comes. And we're going to go to the cadential 6 4 here. And it's going to resolve super, super well. And really, we can just hold these notes over, so we don't even have to really do too much. Here's the 6th above the bass, going down to the 5th above the bass, resolving downwards. And here, D is going to be the 4th above the bass, which then resolves down to the 3rd above the bass, which is tonic and is going to resolve. And I can make the sopranos sort of do something fun too. But you get the idea, right? I'll finish it out just so that you can see it as an example here. Sopranos were on A. Now they're going to be on the 7th. Resolve down to F if they'll let me. There you go. Booyah. So, I mean, that part writing, just taking this wedge and part writing around it. Right? Really, really great. So that's the German augmented sixth. Most typically goes through the cadential 6/4, even though Mozart didn't do it. I hope you saw in that last example the ways or the reasons that it really is great to go through the cadential 6/4, especially in a major key, because you get that minor third, major third thing. So there are our augmented sixth chords, the French, the German today, and we already knew the Italian. So let's do some work on that.